Okay, no, I'm gonna tell. Okay. You want me to explain this part,
Yeah,
right?
should we start over?
Yeah, don't worry, guys. It's perfectly fine. Just start over. It's perfectly fine. We're okay.
Okay.
Hello, everyone. This is our presentation on how to make your video presentation and what is really important to include. And again, just reiterating, this is a really important part of your X Culture experience, because this is where you are actually getting the opportunity to create a presentation that can be shown to the client company. So without further ado, I will pass it over to Ava to go over slide options.
So for creating your slide, we can recommend you those 4 softwares that are really efficient and professional. Canva is the website that we use to create this presentation, actually. Then you also have Prezi, which is quite similar to Canva as well. PowerPoint that I'm sure you all know. And lastly, there is Beautiful AI. I don't know how it was supposed to be pronounced yet, which is also a good website to create professional slides. So after the slides, we also have some tools. Can we move to, yeah, thank you. To record your, to record your presentation, we can recommend you to do it with Zoom or Canva, because there is a special feature that you can use to record the presentation. Or it's another option. It's not the best, but you can do individual videos and then edit them together to make one video. Talking about editing, those 3, I think there are apps can help you to edit the video. So there is InShot, iMovie, which is only available on CapCut. For InShot and CapCut, it's mostly free, but there are some features that are not, unfortunately. And I pass it on to Emily.
All right. So going in here, we have the business plan. So this is where overall you're going to just go in and have everything that you need to put in here. Sorry. Sorry, I lost my notes. So in the business plan, this is where you're going to have all of your different sections and what is really needed to cover in here. So you're going to have your executive summary. You're going to talk about the team. And again, this is very brief because your presentation is a max of, it should be 8 to 10 minutes. So
3 to 8 minutes.
3 to 8
Actually,
minutes.
so it's quite a short presentation.
Yes.
Because the people you're presenting to are very busy executives, so it's very important to keep it short and concise.
Yeah. So again, your executive summary is going to just touch on everything. You're going to clarify who's on the team, and then you're really going to want to dive into what you're doing with your market, your marketing, and your promote or in your management. Covering each of these things in an in-depth way, but also very briefly. So it's very important to just hit the highlights. So with the executive summary, this is, again, with your report, how it was just one page describing what you were doing, how you were going to do it. You're basically going to just summarize that very quickly at the beginning, and then you can reiterate it at the end as your summary. So again, here's our team. I'm Emily from the US. We have Luis and Ava from the Netherlands and Belgium, respectively. And then we'll go into section 1, which was Ava, or no, Luis.
No, that's me.
I'm so sorry.
If you can go to the next slide, please.
Louisa, can you see the next slide?
Yeah, I
Did.
can see the next slide now. There was a little bit of delay. So
Sorry about
first, you're gonna start with a company description. However, I do want to reiterate that because you're also talking to the people who actually own the company in the real presentation, if you get chosen, keep it very short and brief, because the most important part of the presentations are actually your recommendations and your reasoning behind them. So it's really important to keep this really short and to the point, this section specifically. And then you are going to go on to the next slide.
Is it showing up on your end?
No. Can the rest see it, or is it my connection?
I think it's
It's
your
yours.
connection because we can see it. Okay, so then maybe Ava, do you want to try explaining this?
I can see it now.
Okay.
It's just a bit delayed. I have it here on my screen as well, so I will just read that. So then you're going to talk about the industry analysis. And this is what you have done in your report. So really try to find what is most important and your most unique things you find. So talk a little bit about the competitors and also talk about why you consider them the main competitors and what your company is better in, but also what the other companies are performing better right now. And you can do that with showing a SWOT analysis of the competitors if you have done that. And you can also show the pricing comparison. And feel free to put any graphs you have made for the report on the screen.
Yeah, that's something that is very, they say a picture is worth 1,000 words, so graphs are very great.
Yes. And now we are going on to the next slide, and that is the SWOT analysis, I think. So for the SWOT analysis, you're going to talk about the SWOT analysis about the company you've done. And again, try to only mention the most important things if you have a big SWOT analysis. And again, it's probably best if you already have a graph to put that in here. And then after this, we're going to talk to, I think, one really important slides, and also one of the most, where you should give a little bit more explanation, and that's the target market. Because this is really where your report is gonna be different, because you choose your own target market, and it's very important that you actually explain why you choose a certain country. And just briefly explain a bit of your research, but you don't have to go really into depth about the country. You should just go basically the most reasons why you should go to that country, and maybe a couple of things you need to keep in mind. But some of the things about the new target markets, like entry modes, are in different sections. So make sure you really set up for that. And again, feel free to use any graphs you have done, or if you have done a comparison of different countries and you have a graph to show why this country is the best, be sure to put that in there. And I think this is the last part of section 1. So now we're going to move to section 2 with Eva.
Yes. So as Luisa said, we are going to talk now about section 2, which is about marketing. Can we move to? Yeah, thank you. The first thing we're going to talk about are the promotion channels. Basically, the promotion channels are the tool you recommend the client to use in order to entice new customers. Promotion channels, I recommend you to mention them whole, but choose the 2 ones that are the cheapest as well as the most likely to reach the decision makers. So I also have an advice, not only for promotion channel or section 2, like for the whole presentation. Don't settle for the minimum. So don't just like for promotion channels mention all of them and that's it, but rather mention them and also give some explanation, but not too much as well. You really have to find a balance, and this presentation is actually a good exercise for you to see what are the key points of your reports and what not in the presentation. Okay, so after choosing the 2 or 1 promotion channel that you are going to focus on, you can like briefly introduce it, explain why you choose it, and if you have some time left, you can also suggest a strategy that the client could adopt to promote its products or services on the promotion channel. But again, it has to be very short. And we can move to the next slide. Okay. Then we have the part about the message. The message is basically what the client is gonna say and new customer to catch the attention. For example, for Xculture, the slogan is "Learn by doing." I really recommend you for this part to do a list of criteria that the client should pay attention to while building his slogan, and then you can like add the slogan that you found for the client. And if you have several one, again, just like select the 2 that you think are the best. And yeah, that's it for the message part.
Okay, so one question we have from someone in chat. So Eva, Emily, could you just clarify this for everyone? So Jasuria asked me, what if they didn't necessarily what if in their client materials they didn't necessarily ask them to identify one particular market, or overall they didn't necessarily follow the same structure that was shown in one of the previous slides? So what do they do then? So do you want to clarify that for everyone?
Sure. So in that case, you can kind of tweak it to match what your client instructions said on the beginning of the on the challenge instructions. Do you have a specific or?
Yeah, so that's basically it. I also agree with that. So guys, if you guys have a slightly distinct client structure, or like client material structure, so that it's not really like following this particular format, please feel free to highlight those sections that have been like put emphasis on in the client materials, because ideally these are like presentations that will be made to the clients. So whatever is of most importance to them is what we have to highlight. So ZenHire is the client that we're talking about. And yeah, so ZenCV and ZenHire have typically had really different client material structures. Don't need to worry. The client material structure, the various sections highlighted in those, please follow those. Don't necessarily need to follow these. This is just like a recommendation. All right.
And again, this is your chance to really show your creativity and really dive into what you made. So this is your chance to show off, really.
Okay, so the last part in section 2 are the promotion materials. And again, not all the clients are asking it, so don't worry if you didn't do any. For the promotion material part, I really recommend you to put what you created on the slide and then give some explanation, like why did you do a brochure and not maybe, I don't know, an ad or an Instagram post. And you can also explain your choices for the colors, the structure, etc. Like for the message part, you could do a list of things that the client should keep in mind while creating his promotion materials. And you don't have to explain them all, but just say, okay, the client should do so. If you have some questions, don't hesitate to type them in the chat.
Okay, so we have another question, just so that you guys can like answer this live, because I think most people will also have this. So what out of those topics that we just spoke about, these various things such as your SWOT analysis, promotional materials, message, etc., which one should we focus on the most, or should we focus on all of them, or how should we go about like giving time and attention to each of these subsections? What do you guys have to say about that?
So this presentation is really about what I would suggest focusing on are going to be the things that are going to have the most immediate impact on the shareholders that you're presenting to. So you're going to want to focus on, say, if they've been really stressing their marketing in the client and the challenge instructions, then kind of focus on that and show them how you've made something that is going to be beneficial to them. And it's really that you want to hit that what's in it for me thing for these shareholders and and execs that you're presenting to for this company.
I also have something to add regarding this question. For example, if students did, I don't know, the promotion material, promotion channels better than the message, then I would recommend them to focus on this part.
I think Ava's having some Wi-Fi issues. So I agree with what she was saying. One, obviously what Emily said, focus on the things that the client really requires the most. If they want product design, if they want something new to be created, if they want something to be made, please focus on that. If they want market research to be done, focus on that. If they see, there's certain things that most clients will want. One is a competitive analysis. One is a client analysis with SWOT, and one is potentially a new market analysis, because most of the clients, 90% of them, ask for a new market. But if they haven't asked for that, if they haven't asked for any of that, or if they've asked for focus on one in particular, because that's some challenge that they're really facing, that's something that you have to focus on. So you have to spend time going through the client materials once again, go through your report as well, and figure out which one of the sections that A, you have explained the best, and 2, is most applicable to the needs of your client. Ava's back. Ava, I'll let you continue.
Sorry, I had a small issue with my connection. I was just saying that you should focus on the original thing that you found and the elements that you think are gonna help the client to improve. So, for example, I don't know why I was cut, but I was saying that if you found really great ideas and strategy for the promotion channels, and for the message, it was not that easy, and your ideas were kind of basic, I recommend to focus more than on promotion channels. I don't know if you agree, but yeah.
Okay, thank you so for that. So you guys can continue.
So going into section 3, the management of really how this is going to be executed. So the first 2 sections, you're really going into what you're doing. Section 3 is how. So you can go into your entry mode with for your new market. You can just really clarify if you want to go more the lower cost, less control, such as exports, or higher cost, more control, like a wholly owned subsidiary, or you can meet someone in the middle, have a partner company in that country with a joint venture, et cetera, et cetera. And again, this is an important point to hit on, because this is where the company is going to be thinking, okay, this is a really good ad, but how am I going to implement it? And again, going into the payments, so payments and then pricing as well. So how is this going to make money? What's going to be a reasonable cost for your market? Are there going to be any regular costs that are going to be implemented by expanding into your new market? And yeah, so how is your idea going to make the company money, essentially? So you can do a tiered pricing, you can do a subscription service. There are so many different things, which is what you've covered in your report. And again, here is just kind of highlighting it so that the company can see it and be like, oh, that's a good idea. I can see where that would work. So are there any other questions?
All right, so guys, this is now your chance to unmute and just ask away. First of all, any complications? Did somebody not understand something in the presentation? Okay. All right. So I'll just give a few tips to you guys, just in response to some of the things that we were looking at before, and you guys can. I'll ask everything. I'll ask you guys to expand on that, so you guys will also have ideas. So for the prioritization of what section, what I recommended one of my coaching teams to do before, and ideally coaches aren't necessarily supposed to involve themselves quite directly in the creation of presentations, but generally speaking, they can give you some very broad tips. For example, what I recommended was to my students was that for each subsection, give it a rating out of 1 to 3. So it could be a 1 or a 2 or a 3. What the rating depends on is, one, how well have you written it in your client material, in your student report. Go through the sections. go through the sections, and then you can evaluate how well you have written everything. Then 2, depending on how broad the emphasis is during the client materials, take into account the length, the variety of questions and sub questions asked. And 3, just overall imagine the client's problems and imagine how relevant that section is to the problems. So you can give it a broad rating, and then 3 being the most important and 1 being the least, and etc. And that's how you can answer it. All right. Emily, could you expand on this a little bit further if you have some ideas?
Yeah, so yeah, again, it's just highlighting the points that are going to be the most important and that are going to make the most immediate impact on the people you're presenting to. So you're talking about how you're going to market the product, but you're also marketing your ideas to the executives. So you need to have just keep this presentation a quick, short, to the point, and attractive presentation that's going to just kind of catch their eye and make them want to listen to you. So it's daunting, but it is very fun, and the things that all of you come up with are just, every year they're just stunning. So I, for one, am very excited to see what's created.
I also have another tips, like it's something I've seen my students doing a bit, is that when we told them that they have too much content on their slide, they don't think about reducing it, but they rather think about speaking faster, and they start speaking so fast that you don't understand anything. So please, when you speak, try to have a normal rate, not too slow, but not too fast as well, because the client has to understand you. Yeah.
And building on that, don't make your slides too cluttered with words, because as you're going through and you're talking, it can be a bit confusing and can kind of take away from what you're saying if you have just a whole paragraph on your slide. So
yes, I think it's also very important to, even though it's very short, be specific in your recommendations. For example, if you are going to say that you want to use Instagram, don't just say use Instagram ads, because that's like something everybody can think of, and it doesn't like really convince your client. Be specific in what kind of ad. Or if you're YouTube, you can say, I'll work with these types of persons because they are relevant. And also say, oh yeah, your target audience is mostly teenagers. Teenagers use Instagram more than Facebook. So that's why you should use it. And I know that it's very difficult if you need to be short, but be sure to, like, the recommendations and the reasoning behind them are actually the most important. So make sure to actually explain things and do not cut there. Then you can better, for example, make it better, but make sure you really give attention to these recommendations, because that's what the business owners are going to get the most out of.
So
Okay, any other questions, guys? Anything pertaining to this particular like presentation, or anything in regards to the student presentations in particular? I know that you guys might have a lot of questions about the program in general, but you guys can probably ask them in a bit. But actually, you know what, since we have time, you guys can ask anything. Any questions about anything, guys? Anything in regards to your reports, anything in regards to how everything's going? If you want to just, like, I don't know, unmute and say how your experience in the practical phase has been, how has it like helped you, how stressful it has been, maybe. Anything's fine.
And
Okay.
if you don't want to talk, you can put it just in the chat, but also feel free to unmute. We want to hear from you.
Yeah. So Henrik says not so far. I think everything is going good. That's great. I'm glad. Okay, so if we don't have any other responses in a bit, I guess we'll close for the day. But of course, you guys can obviously reach out to us on Discord, on Telegram for any questions or concerns, or you guys can write to academy@xculture.org. So that is our official email, and we will be happy to assist you. Also, you can obviously approach your coaches or coaching managers. That is just always there. When it comes to the presentations, guys, do take these seriously. I know it's considered that these aren't necessarily as important as the student reports, but trust me, the opportunities that these provide you are far too many to not be taken, to not take this seriously. Because like, for example, there was a couple of years ago, if I remember, it was, correct me if I'm wrong, it was with Zen CV, right, Emily, or was it with Kochi Griffon? No, it was with Zen CV. Yeah, so there was this group of academy students, a group of academy girls, who wrote such a phenomenal report, and they made such a great presentation that the CEO of Zen CV actually loved it so much that he invited them to like collaborate with him further and discuss those ideas and potentially implement it. So I mean, possibilities are endless. If you actually want to see your ideas being implemented in an actual company and not just in a report, then this is one of your best shots. Make it the best presentation that you guys can, and yeah, potentially secure a great opportunity like that. So I'm not guaranteeing anything, by the way. Don't take this as, oh, if you make a great presentation, they will definitely work with you. But I'm just saying that it is possible. The possibilities are endless. Okay, so seeing that we don't have anything else right now, we're going to end for today. And I hope you guys are doing well. And thank you, everybody, for attending. And peace and love, everyone. Bye-bye.
Hi, everyone.
Bye.